All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the Code Enforcement Board of City of Treasure Island to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I think before we do the roll call, we ought to install the new members.
Absolutely. So the new members, what you're going to do is you're going to just go ahead and start with your name, and then you're going to do an oath of office, which is required by the charter. And Ms. Tia, the vice clerk, is that your official title?
Deputy City Clerk.
Deputy City Clerk will be administering the oath for you guys. So if you want to start out, and then I think we have 2 members, is that correct?
Three.
Three.
Have you?
You were already sworn in as an alternate, and now you're an at-large, correct?
Right.
So you're, yeah.
And you have been sworn in?
Yes.
Okay. 2.
Just tell us your name, and then we'll do you want to do them both at the same time, or?
We can do both at the same time.
Okay, so just tell us your names, and then we'll do them both at the same time.
So go ahead and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Make sure that your microphones are on. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect,
and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of
and of the state of Florida,
and I will well
and I will
will
well
faithfully perform
faithfully perform
the duties on the Code Enforcement Board
the duties
duties
of
on
the
the Code Enforcement Board
of the City of Treasure Island, Florida,
of the City of Treasure Island, Florida,
on which I am about to enter.
of
on
which I am about to enter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're ready for roll call.
Derry Smith,
And
Here.
thank you, and congratulations to our new members.
Thank you.
Frank Malone, Jennifer Gray, Jeffrey Bainan, Don Snemis.
Here.
Thank you.
I understand we lack a vice chairman. Should we take that up now?
Yes, that would be either if you want to do that, or I can do the quick orientation on Sunshine Law, the general overview of what the Code Enforcement Board does for new members, and a refresher for those on it, and then we can move to that action if you want, Mr. Chair.
That's fine.
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I'm Gavin Rollins, I'm the city attorney, and just going to give you a quick overview. Now that you guys are officially on the Code Enforcement Board, you are bound by what is popularly known as the Sunshine Law. This is just basically Florida's public records. So one of the biggest parts of that is that meetings of this board and of each of you have to be publicly advertised and held in a public format like it is today. This has been noticed, and it's open to the public. And you also are not allowed to talk to each other about items that are before the board, could become before the board, or possibly come before the board. That includes using go-betweens, those types of things. You have to do all that in a public meeting. And the reason for that is that to avoid this backroom deals, kind of shady, back in the day, this cigar smoke-filled rooms they would talk about. Everything is in the sunshine. Everything is able to be observed by the public and what you're doing. That also applies to a term called ex parte communication. So for those of you who aren't Latin experts, it just simply means outside of an official forum side communication. So what you want to do is you want to avoid any kind of conversation with any of the people who might be coming before the Code Enforcement Board. So if you're in Publix and you're grabbing a drink and someone says, hey, I got a Code Enforcement hearing thing coming up, I'd really appreciate it if you vote my way. Just say I'm not allowed to have a discussion with you about that. Because all of that by the charter and Florida law needs to be presented in a public forum. And the reason for that is you guys are serving in another Latin term, a quasi-judicial capacity. Quasi meaning partial, just not entirely judicial, but you are functioning as essentially 5 judges. And you are doing so to make sure that each person who has a code enforcement violation brought before this board has due process. And we expect that when we are in the courtroom with a criminal or a civil situation, and it's a similar situation here, but it's not exactly the same in that there are rules of evidence that we try to kind of follow, but you don't have to strictly follow rules of evidence, hearsay, those types of certain aspects of criminal and civil rules of evidence do not apply strictly to code enforcement hearings. But the key overarching concept you want to be thinking about is due process. So the city is going to present their case. They function almost as essentially the prosecutor. And then whoever is presenting in defense of, if they're here, they will have the opportunity to present. And they will have the opportunity to present witnesses and evidence. And they will have the opportunity to cross-examine the code enforcement officer who presented the case, whoever they would like, and vice versa. And your job is to be impartial arbiters, neutral arbiters of that decision, and ultimately come to a decision on whether you believe the evidence supports and the facts, finding of facts supports a conclusion that they violated code, or if you believe that they didn't, or some lesser version thereof. In certain cases, there's stipulation agreements, and I'll kind of go into that when we get to the stipulation agreement. So that's kind of your general overview. Just be thinking in terms of you want to be very professional, which all of you appear to be, and appreciate your service. This is, I know, a voluntary role, but you also want to take it seriously in the sense of you are acting as a judicial determiner. And if you do vote on something, at least 4 members have to vote on, there's 5 members present. If there's a final order to be determined from this, the charter requires at least 4 members to vote on that. And those 4 members, if it's at least 4 members, then it becomes an official law-binding order that goes out and is stamped by the City of Treasure Island and goes out in the file as a determination from this Code Enforcement Board hearing. So I'll stop talking and answer any questions that you have, and then you have a chairman, and what you would want to do is someone wants to serve as vice chair, they can be nominated by someone else, or they can nominate themselves, and then they would need a majority vote of this board, and that person would then function as vice chair, and in the absence of the chairman, function in the role of chairman. So that would be your next item of business if there's no questions from me. So good question. So if it comes to procedural action, like continuing a matter or voting on chair, it's just a simple majority. But but the charter has a specific provision where if it's a final order, meaning that you guys have made a judicial determination as the code board that this is a final order, that requires at least 4 members. If there's 7, that would obviously be a majority of the 7. But in this case, because there's only 5 members, you'd have to have 4 of the 5 members to make the order an official lawful order. But you can make other determinations to move an item or that kind of thing without all 4 members voting. Those would be simple majority. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's kind of a weird nuance within the charter because it carves it out for it to be an official stamped order and lawful order. It has to be 4 members.
Any other questions for the city attorney? Is anyone willing to serve as vice chair? It is an important position because if I'm not here, someone has to run the meeting. And we have holidays coming up and I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to try and arrange my schedule around meetings, but that may not be possible. So is anyone willing to serve as vice chair and run the meetings if I'm not here for some reason? We really need a vice chair.
Maybe at some time in the future. I just right now I'd like to
Anybody?
Please remember to keep your microphones
Yes,
on.
we can do that. We can move this to the end of the meeting, and you
Yep,
can see
certainly allow.
if you don't mind doing it. It's really just kind of understanding how to run a meeting, but it's not rocket science.
And if
know.
you do want to serve, I'm happy to take a few minutes after the meeting or at a different time and kind of work through, coach you through how the process works to help you more comfortable off the record, not in the public, because I know it can be intimidating your first meeting and then suddenly you're thrust into a leadership role. So
And you will have a clerk here to help you. You will have the city attorney here to help you. So, you'll have some training wheels. It's not a big deal. All right, well, let's move that to the end, having no one volunteer yet. Although we may have volunteered down the end, I'm hoping. I got my fingers crossed. Okay, cell phones. Please silence your cell phones. Check right now, and so we don't interrupt proceedings. Okay. We need to administer an oath to anyone who is going to speak with regard to any of the cases that are going to come before us. So I'm going to ask the Madam Clerk to do that now.
All who are wishing to speak on any of today's cases, please stand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give before the Code Enforcement Board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
If I could, so that we arrange our schedule to minimize the amount of time you have to be here, if you could raise your hand, if you're I'm going to read the cases, or I'm just going to actually provide the addresses of the properties at issue. If you're going to speak as to on one of these properties, if you could just raise your hand so that we know who's here. If we have cases that no one's here, we'll move them to the end so you don't have to sit through those, okay? 440 115th Avenue. If you raise your hand, owner HGRP LLC. No one? Okay. That was the first one. I thought you, okay. 755 115th Avenue, owned by Vital Homes.
Mr. Chair, we have changed the order that me and you spoke about. It's going to be on the new paperwork that I just gave you.
Well, both those cases are still on the,
They're still on there, absolutely. We just, I
I
believe
just got them in the wrong order.
those two we moved to the end, yes, sir.
Okay. But we know that the HGRC and Vital Homes are not here, so. Okay. Thank you. 11285 5th Street East. Okay, we do have a witness, one witness. 11465 5th Street East, one witness. 11220 5th Street East, one witness. 10132 Yacht Club Drive, one witness. And 12550 6th Street East, any witnesses? No. So is anyone here for anything else? Raise your hand. Okay, so it looks like you have them in good order. So let's take them in that way. So explanation of hearing procedures from our city attorney.
So the city will go first and present the code violations, and then the defense of whoever is here on defending. If an attorney is present, they're certainly able to present on behalf of the alleged violator. If they are not, then someone can represent themselves pro se on their own, and that person will have the opportunity to ask questions of the code enforcement officer or any of the city staff that have presented, or to present evidence of their own or witnesses of their own. And typically what I encourage is just on the evidence, you just try to get a sense of how they are verifying this evidence. There is no specific procedure to that, but if it's a picture, you want to know, hey, when did you take this picture? That kind of try to verify a little bit of the evidence on that. The city will obviously do so. And then, so typically the city gets one final stab at it at the very end, and then you guys can discuss it among yourselves and then make a final determination.
And I would add to that, that there's two essential issues with regard to all of these violations. Number one, is there a violation? Is there a violation of the code, the law, whatever laws, regulations, code provisions, ordinances apply? That's the first issue. Is it a violation? And the second issue is, if it is a violation, what is the appropriate remedy?
Absolutely.
Okay, what is the appropriate penalty, remedy, order, et cetera? We had witnesses go kind of off into space on lots of other issues, but those are the only two issues that we're deciding. So please keep that in mind when you are making a presentation. Okay, you heard the city attorney talk about ex parte communications, communications between and among board members outside of the public record. I would now ask all board members to disclose any ex parte communications that they have had on any of the matters on our agenda today. If they have, and we'll exclude you from discussion of that particular matter if that is the case. Has anyone had any ex parte communications? Okay, I'm going to indicate for the record that all members present have indicated that they have not had any ex parte communications. All right, next matter on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from last meeting. Those have been distributed in your packets. I read them briefly and found no issues. Does anyone have any issues or would like to make any corrections to the draft minutes from last meeting? All right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 20 meeting? You got to say it verbally on the record. So moved.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the minutes from the last meeting are unanimously approved. All right, we will move now to the actual cases. First matter on my list, Jackie, is Environ, ENVIRON-005687-2025. The address is 11285 5th Street East in Treasure Island. Owner is listed as 11285 5th Street RE LLC. Is that correct?
That is the first case on there. If it would be possible, I'd like to just take a couple seconds before I pass it off to the inspector who's going to do the presentation and give a quick overview.
Absolutely. Please go ahead and proceed.
Thank you so much. My name's Jackie Gabriel. I'm the planning manager for the city of Treasure Island. Today we have quite a few cases for you, but I wanted to take a few minutes, just run through some of the background formalities to ease the presentation and help us get in a rhythm. That way we can get through some of these bigger cases. Our staff has been focusing mainly on overgrown lots, landscape issues, residential maintenance issues, due to concern expressed by the commission and an attempt to slow the spread of blight across the island. We've altered some of our enforcement efforts, so you'll see a change in pattern as we move forward. It's today's kind of our older way of handling things, but as we move forward in the coming months, you'll see some changes to that. In the coming months, you're also going to see an increase in cases. Today we have 7 cases, which I think is the most we've ever presented in one board. In an effort to get us out of here in a reasonable time and get through those, we're going to speed up the areas we can. A lot of these cases have a good bit of due process requirements and just requirements from the statute side of things as far as notices and the paperwork. You'll notice my inspectors are going to move through that relatively quickly. So if you have any questions, you need us to slow down, please let us know. We don't have a problem going back through it. We're just trying to get to the pictures and the code sections so that we can put those side by side and paint you a picture of what the violation is. I will move reports to the end. For scheduling, I want to apologize to everyone for our last month's cancellation. We had a senator come in, and the timing was not anything I could control. We had to make a last-minute announcement for security reasons, so I do apologize for that. Coming up, we have November and December big holiday months, like the chair mentioned. We have meetings scheduled for the 19th of November and the 17th of December. I do anticipate we'll have hearings or cases for both of those hearings.
You do anticipate?
I do.
Okay.
I don't see any reason why we won't at this time. Not going to make any promises.
Keep us as informed as possible. Some of us travel for the holidays, but are able and willing to reorganize our travel schedule around the meetings. We may have to miss some, so you may have quorum issues. I don't know what everyone else's schedule is like, but I know I will be traveling.
Okay.
I will try and do my best to do that, but I would hate to rearrange my schedule and then have the meeting canceled. Now, I know that's not within your control, but I would just ask you to do as much as you can for us on that.
Absolutely. When we get out today, I'll ask Tia to send off an email just to confirm who is or isn't here. That way we'll know in advance. On our side of things, we won't post notice of hearings if we don't already have a quorum. Timing-wise, we usually hold this board at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but we are going to see an increase in cases. Would it be okay if we move that back to 11 for the foreseeable future?
It's okay with me, but I'd invite our fellow,
I'm good with 11.
good with 11?
Yeah.
Looks like it's okay.
Okay.
For the members present. We do have 2 current members that are not present, correct?
Yes, sir. We'll include that in that email going out just to see if there's any major objections. If that's okay, Tia?
Yep. And just so for the board, can you guys make sure that your mics are on as well? Chair, you're fine. It's a couple of the mics are off.
All right, the last thing I have before our inspectors get started today. Today you're going to hear some cases that have resolved the violation prior to this meeting. The reason we're still presenting those to you is because it was resolved after our notice of hearing was posted. Once a notice of hearing is posted, we're moving the case forward to you, whether it's a joint stipulation or we're actually presenting the case. There's no exception to that. When notice of hearing goes up, we bring it to you. There's a blurb at the end of our notice of hearing that states this for the respondents, so there's no surprises for anyone, and we communicate that as we're able to our respondents. With these cases, we're going to present them to you and request that they be found as a first-time violator, since the property was not in compliance by the compliance date listed in the notice of violation, and it wasn't in compliance at the time we posted the notice of hearing. We do our best to work with our respondents and our property owners all the way up until we post the notice of hearing. At that point, it's kind of our line in the sand, if you will. Once a property is found as a first-time violator, should the same violation occur under the same owner within the next 5 years, we're then able to move the case back to you quicker. We don't have to do a courtesy notice of violation. We just bring it right back to you and speed up the process. We're hopeful that this will shorten future response, eliminate duplicated issues, duplicated efforts, and just get back to having the island looking very nice and beautiful like it always does. So if there's no questions of me, I will pass it off to Ms. Pam. She's going to get us started on the first case.
Good afternoon. My name is Pamela Nash. I am Code Compliance Inspector for the City of Treasure Island. The case I bring before you today is case number ENVIRON 005687-2025, and the address is 11285 5th Street East, Treasure Island. The zoning map is presented to show property location on the island. These are the code sections for this case. It's 1837, which is unhealthful accumulations declared a public nuisance, and 68495, which is minimum property standards. A courtesy notice, the first thing that happened on this case was we received a code complaint from a resident. That was on February 3rd of 2025. Then we received another one on April 15th of 2025. A courtesy notice was mailed on May 5th of 2025 after inspection for property maintenance, debris, rubble, trash, and just general dilapidation. On 6/24, I mailed another courtesy notice after I was able to get a look at the pool in the backyard. The pool maintenance was also added to the courtesy notice. These are the photos. The first photo on your left is showing the roof line, which is obviously damaged, and the siding is coming off. The soffit is damaged and missing, and there's some equipment and/or debris which is hanging off the roof and overhanging into the neighbor's property line. And the second picture on the right is showing the same side, but more toward the back of the house, where you can see that the second story is basically missing and just in rubble. The third picture from April is showing the front of the house where you can see missing siding and rubble, trash, debris, things like that around the property. And the second picture on the right is a great shot of the back of the house, showing the massive structural damage to the roof and second story, and showing the unmaintained pool. And the last picture is another inspection photo from June, showing the house still remains in noncompliance. A notice of violation was posted on the property on July 21st. I did confirm proof of property ownership through PCPAO. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it's Pinellas County Property Appraiser's Office, and a tax collector printout of the tax receipt. An affidavit of service was also issued on July 21st, and pictures were taken on that day. The compliance date for that notice of violation was August 20th. And that again was for the code sections 1837 and 68495. And these are the pictures that were taken as I posted that notice of violation. On the left, front of the house, still showing the grass is even taller at this point, and which included a lot of weeds growing into the gutters at the street, still out of compliance. And the picture on the right is showing the height of the weeds as of July 21st. I'm sorry, July 11th. More pictures showing examples of the siding damage, and then a closer picture of the back, which is deteriorating even more, and the unmaintained pool with the basically it's black water at this point. There was no compliance as of the date that was listed on the notice of violation, so we moved the case to notice of hearing. This notice of hearing was posted at the property on September 8th. I again confirmed proof of property ownership, again for the code sections 1837, 68495, which remained throughout the case. The affidavit of service was completed, the pictures were dated 9/8, and the compliance date for this notice of hearing was September 15th. Unfortunately, that notice of hearing had to be canceled. All of the due process was followed. It was posted on the property, confirmed proof of property ownership, did the affidavit of service, took pictures, and of course, we left off the compliance date for that notice of cancellation. The next notice of hearing was posted in October. That's October 8th. I confirmed proof of property ownership. I also confirmed the California business search, through a California business search, just to confirm that the property still remained in the hands of the same business that it had always had, the 12285 5th Street RE LLC. We did, still for the same code sections, affidavit of service. The pictures were dated October 8th and 21st. The compliance date for that notice of hearing is November 21st. And these are the photos that I took when I posted that notice of hearing. You can see the grass growing even higher. Now it's growing over the top of the driveway. That's the picture on the left. The picture on the right is just an overall picture of the entire property. Still out of compliance. On the 21st of October, we were out yesterday afternoon, and I took these photos. You can still see the grass is even taller, and the weeds are continuing to grow over the gutter On the right, the picture of the side of the house illustrating further siding and structural damage with daylight now showing through the remaining one wall of the second story. This is recent debris that has fallen from the roof. I believe it was effective either this past Saturday or the Saturday prior. The neighbor that lives next door was out and the debris fell off the roof. This was originally hanging from the roof. The wind came and blew it onto the ground. And if you look under that back window, you can see a big piece of, I'm not sure what it is. It might be dry, it might be some kind of board or moldy drywall. I'm not 100% sure what it is. So at this point, staff recommendations, I apologize. I want to stop at this point, please, and ask if we could hear some testimony from anyone who would like to speak about the property. Would that be okay at this time?
You can call whatever witness you like.
Yes. Mr. and Mrs. Haas, would you like to come up?
You're going to remain available for questions, right?
And just one before they speak, if you could, so anytime you're introducing evidence, you just want to make sure that the board actually officially accepts that as evidence, and the defendant in the case has an opportunity to challenge that evidence if they have any specific reason to believe that it's not a accurate reflection, like the dates were wrong or that type of thing. They can challenge that, but ultimately the board needs to accept that evidence into the record. The photographs and the notices, et cetera.
Understood. Thank you.
Do you want to direct me? My name's Randy Hawes, and I'm the homeowner next door. I'm just south of this property. Direct me where you want me to go, because if you're talking about violations and problems, I could be here a while.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, could you help myself and the board understand the impacts that this house has had onto yourself, your lovely wife, and your property since maybe even before the storms? I'm not 100% sure what condition the house was in at that point.
All right, I'll give you a high level. This home, one of the original city commissioners owned and built this home years ago. His family moved him out, told me they were going to put the property up for sale. A house flipper from California bought it, met him, fine. Prior to Helene, they gutted the house, took it down to the studs. They planned to flip it. They decided then to put a new roof on, which in our opinion, you could see termite damage, wood rot. Why they put a new roof on, that's their problem. Helene came. You all know what that did. We had 30 inches of water where we were. No one really came back. They had a supervisor that would come occasionally, meet with some contractors, whatever. Their debris was so bad. Most of the roof that you saw, the tail end of this, blew and hit my house. We're still dealing with insurance to recover from that damage. Helene, not a problem. Yes, problem. But Milton is the one that blew the back master bedroom off of that house. Somehow, wind got in there, blew it off. Most of that rubble went across my roof. We've since had to put in a new roof, hit the side of my house. We've suffered some damage, some cracking, some windows. We're still fighting with insurance on that, and we've had some recovery. Tried to contact the owner, had a cell phone number in California, contacted him. They sent a small crew of 2 guys to clean up some of the roof and debris from along the side of the house, but still, that's the last that we've seen anybody or spoke to anyone.
Can I ask you just a quick question about that?
Sure.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what was the name of the person that you contacted?
I believe it's Jose Menendez. Joe Menendez. He's in California, and his company was Gorilla Flip.
Flip Gorilla.
Flip Gorilla. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's the opposite. I had one conversation, met him, but had a conversation at 6 a.m. his time. Wants to say there's so much debris, it's a health hazard, it's destroying my lawn, punctured my irrigation lines. And he said, I'll get right on that. Well, within 2 weeks, they actually sent 2 young men to get the bulk of the debris in a trailer and pull it off. Still left what you see. Our concern all along has been, not only is it an eyesore, the pool is a health hazard, the front is terrible, it's an eyesore for the whole community, but I'm concerned about more debris hitting my home, making more damage, and dealing with insurance again last Saturday, and Pam was right. I'm outside, wind came up, 20-mile-an-hour wind. Those sections you see on the ground, that is the subroof, plywood. Probably a 2x12 beam. This is what's coming off. It's termite infected, it's wood rot, it's exposed. The only thing that can survive there is a neighborhood cat. He lives in the garage. So whatever, we don't know what you can do. We just like to move this forward. We believe it's not only a health and an eyesore, for us, it's a safety hazard.
And how long ago was it that they actually came out and did?
That initial work that the owner did, gosh, I want to say that's probably April, May. Oh, yeah, Nathan was.
Just to clarify, obviously, not to be that guy, but if members of the audience want to speak, they need to come up to the podium and do so on the record, just to clarify.
No, it's okay. I'm
Okay.
coached that it was earlier than that.
Okay.
It's just, but the safety issue and potential damage to my home or the home on the other side, if we get any kind of big wind, it's like, it's ready to go. It's not sound structure. I'm not a contractor. I'm not an engineer. But as a layman, you can see it's termite infested, wood rot. It's not going to hold up to much of a storm, and that's our concern. So we're not sure what the city can do. I will say that the first notice came from me through the city website. I appreciate the prompt response. It was very prompt, and Pam has been keeping in touch with us. So in that regard, the city gets kudos for doing their thing. So we don't know what you can do, but anything to move this forward to some kind of resolution and a big excavator tearing it down would be wonderful.
Have you spoken to the owners at all?
No, we have not had any kind of.
So do you know if they're getting?
I do. I have from the certified mail for all of the NOV and NOHs. I have copies of signatures. I can't read them, but someone did receive those notices in California.
Okay.
And have you had any further conversations with Mr. Joe Menendez?
No, I have not. That one cell phone call early in the morning was the last time I spoke to him. I then got a text. Throughout all of this, he had an on-site supervisor. Richard, I do not know his last name, but he was living here, helping with this flip. They had another one in Terra Verde. Had a lot of conversations with him personally. We would text back and forth, and when finally he quit answering texts, he would not take a phone call. Finally, when the two gentlemen came and cleared some of that debris out, he sent me a text and said, "Didn't we do a good job?" Something to that effect, to acknowledge the fact that they'd arranged to have that debris pulled away. And I said, well, it's still an absolute mess. You need to do something. Can you tell me what's going on? No answer. And have not been able to communicate with anyone since then.
Pam, how substantially damaged is this house?
55, sorry.
You have that?
I do. I don't know if it was added to the packet, but the substantial damage letter does show that it's 55% substantially damaged. There was never a request to reconsider that percentage. There was never any kind of an actual cash value appraisal submitted or any request from the property owner.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Anyone have any further questions for Mr. Haas?
No.
Appreciate your help, Mr. Haas.
Thank you.
Anything further from the city?
I
I have one more thing I'm going to add to it. Pam, if you could go back to a picture of the property. What I'm going to do is read through this code sections for you, 18-37 and 68-495. That way you can see how it applies to this property. Section 18-37 is unhealthful accumulations declared a public nuisance. It shall be unlawful and constitute a public nuisance for any owner or occupant of property within the city to create, allow, permit, tolerate, or maintain upon such property or within their premises or the streets, public right-of-ways, public ways, right-of-ways, or easements adjacent thereto, any pools of water, any stagnant water, any building materials, refuse, rubble, trash, filth, waste, junk, motor vehicle bodies, or parts, or disabled boats or marine parts, or old lumber, or any excessive growth of weeds or other vegetation, or any other rank or noxious plant, vegetation, or matter, or any other conditions or matter conducive to the breeding of mosquitoes or to infestation by rats, rodents, or other vermin, or the breeding, concealing, or harboring of rats, rodents, snakes, dangerous reptiles or animals, insects or vermin, or anything which may cause disease or affect the health of the inhabitants of the city. I'm going to move to section 68-495. This one's a little bit longer, so I'm only going to read what applies to this property. The purpose of the minimum property standards is to eliminate nuisances that detract from the public health and safety and aesthetic quality of the community. The following requirements are required as minimum property standards. 1, nuisance. The exterior of the premise and of all structures shall be kept free of all nuisances, hazards to residents, occupants, and pedestrians utilizing the premise, and free of unsanitary conditions in accordance with the following requirements. All premise shall be kept free of dead trees and shrubs, excessive brush and overgrowth, excavations, standing water, not a component of an approved drainage system, loose overhanging objects, and the accumulation of trash, garbage, refuse, vegetable clippings, and/or debris. The exterior of the structure, including signs, screens, and storefronts, shall be maintained in good repair, kept painted, or have similar protective coating where necessary for appearance and preservation. All exterior surfaces shall be maintained free of broken glass, loose shingles, excessive paint peeling, excessive mildew, excessive corrosions, or other conditions reflective of inadequate maintenance or deterioration. Moving to number 2 is turf maintenance and height of grass. The exterior of the premise, including yards, lots, and public right-of-ways, shall be maintained in a manner free from nuisance, hazards, and other unsanitary conditions through the following requirements. All premise with overgrown grass over 6 inches high on all residential properties shall be considered excessive overgrowth. Premises landscaped with lawns, hedges, and/or bushes, edged or trimmed, shall be kept from becoming overgrown and unsightly. Lawns shall be kept in a condition reflective of reasonable care, with grass showing no excessive signs of neglect, discoloring, and/or dead vegetation. I'd like to add that into what is entered for evidence as well.
And just to clarify, so when the staff is requesting something be entered into evidence, then you guys have the option of just accepting that. So what I would recommend in this case is if staff is requesting the following presentation be entered into evidence, then you guys, if you're, there's no defense to object to that. So you would just, if you believe that that evidence is sufficiently verified, then you can accept it through a motion and a vote.
Okay, first I would just like to ask for the record if there is anyone here on behalf of the respondent 11285 5th Street RE LLC. All right, for the record, no one has identified themselves, and it appears that the owner has chosen not to appear for this hearing. I would entertain a motion to accept the evidence that has been presented here today, including the packet information that has been provided.
And to clarify, you're not making any final determination at that stage. You're just simply accepting the evidence that's been presented into the record.
May I have such a motion?
I second.
You have to make the motion first.
Oh, you do it.
All right.
I'll make the
I
motion.
motion to second.
To accept the work as true.
Okay. Member Boynan has moved to accept the evidence provided, and Member Gray has seconded. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, so the evidence presented will be accepted into the record. Any discussion so far?
Well, I'd like to know if this is substantially damaged, what is the possibility of city taking steps on removing this violation?
This is our step. We don't have a condemnation process in place right now. I apologize. We don't have a condemnation process in place right now. We have the code that is, as it's written, it addresses the items on the outside of the property. So that's why we're bringing it before you today.
Yeah, because this is a dangerous condition.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of dangerous conditions on this island, and I think it's something that we got to look forward to. Maybe, if it needs to be, move aggressively.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Jackie,
you.
is it considered an unsafe structure at this time?
I believe that one has been listed as an unsafe structure. The way those are handled is posted by the building official. But ultimately, through his channels, will still be presented at this board. He's got a little bit more notice requirements. I'm not 100% sure of his processes and procedures, but he's got more notice requirements and steps that he has to follow before it will ultimately end up back here before you.
I did not hear anything specifically about the pool, but in the proposed motion that you provided, you talk about the pool, draining the pool or using equipment to clean up the pool. Is that still the case? Is that still what you're looking for?
Yes.
So do you have something to talk about or to present in that regard?
I do,
I have pictures of the pool?
I have, they're not super close.
And if there was a slide on it and I missed it, I apologize.
So
Wasn't
on
a
the
very good view of the
right-hand,
pool.
the right-hand photo, you can see where my cursor is.
Yes.
That's the pool, and that's where the water is.
And you've seen it personally?
I have, yes, sir,
Could you
as,
just-
as well as my partner.
And could you just tell us what it looks like, what it smells like? I mean, what its condition is?
The entire house smells like you would expect mold to smell, and rotting wood. And the pool is basically black, and during the height of mosquito season, they were inundated with mosquitoes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Does anyone have any other questions for the city staff?
I don't.
All right, there are two versions of a proposed motion in the packet. I don't know if they're exactly the same, but I see one on page 118 and one on page 137. The one on page 137 wasn't copied very well, and I don't have the whole one, but the one on 118 is legible. Can we use the one on 118?
This is the copy that you should have.
What page is that one? That's not a proposed motion, that's the staff recommendation.
Right.
One more over.
One more over.
I think if you go one more,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Yes, okay, that's the one we're looking, okay, that's fine. Well, it's not exactly the same as the one I've got, but it's close enough. So here's some concerns I have about it. Number one, I don't know that we can order someone to repair a building that they may not be able to get a permit from, but I think we might be able to order them to either repair it or demolish it. Is that correct?
I believe so. Through the substantial damage process, which we have Jesse back here, he can explain a little bit better. They have a few options. Repairing is one of them under certain guidelines and circumstances, and demolishing is another one. So I believe that would be on our side. Gavin, do you have anything?
Yeah, you could certainly add that in for clarity into the final order. Repair or remedy, if it's completely demolished, then that would be considered repair for the purposes of the order. But yeah, it definitely would provide greater clarity if that was added in. But I think as is, it still would be legally sufficient. So, because by demolishing the entire building, you're essentially repairing by
I don't
removing
like
the
that.
issue.
I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're saying. I
Yeah.
think that's a little bit of too much legalese for me. I think I think the motion and the order should specifically say you have two options here.
Sure.
Either repair it or demolish it. If you're going to repair it, repair the siding, the roofing, the peeling, paint, and mildew, and any other signs of inadequate maintenance. If you're not, then demolish it. In all cases, obtain all necessary permits and comply with those permits.
Sure, yeah,
That seems
provides
to me-
clarity and from a communication standpoint, for sure.
Yeah, to me, members, that seems to be a better way to go
I agree.
than as written here. But I'm happy to hear any comments
Well,
you
if
would
it's
have.
more than 50% damaged, then they don't have the opportunity to repair it. The only thing they could do is lift it to get out of that.
Or, right, or, I mean,
Which-
they could have it reappraised and argue the 55%
I don't know if they
determination.
can at
too.
this stage.
They may not be able to, but
you
the
know.
point is, we don't know, and I want to cover all bases.
Yeah.
Okay,
See
okay.
what I mean?
I just want to give relief to the people in the neighborhood if that's the case.
Right. No, I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
Any other comments or concerns?
No.
All right, let me read this motion as I've sort of edited it, and I can make the motion, right?
You can, yes, yeah, chair is certainly allowed to.
May I interject one
Yes.
thing to maybe ponder? I gave this case 30 days to come into compliance. That 30 days falls after our next scheduled meeting. So that would give this property owner until December to make a decision or come into compliance one way or the other. So maybe 30 days is too long, given
I
the
mean,
state of the
with this
structure.
level of repair, I don't know how you can order someone to do all this within 15 days reasonably or something like that. I mean, I am sympathetic to the neighbor and the
agree.
neighborhood, but I also don't want to enter an unrealistic order. We're just going to cause ourselves more trouble if we do that. But I understand your concern. But that does bring up another point and that I wanted to mention. Last month, we had an order that someone do something within a certain amount of days, but I never, the order was actually not physically prepared for a couple weeks after our meeting. And so I signed it, and it got sent out, but I was a little concerned about the timing, because by the time the order was actually signed and sent, there was a very, I wouldn't say very, there was a shorter period of time than what we really voted on. So I think in the future that our orders should run from the date they're signed, not from the date of this meeting.
I agree with you.
Now, I'm happy to hear from you on that.
I am typing away, trying to keep up with you so that we'll have them before you leave today. But what we're going to try to do is take what you say, I'm going to type it all out, send it over to Gavin while we're meeting, and he's going to make it sound perfect. So before you walk out of here today, you should be able to sign everything.
And I would be happy to come back here and this afternoon or evening or tomorrow morning first thing, you will not have to wait for me, I promise you that.
Absolutely. We'll get it done for you.
All right, so let me make this motion, and I'm hoping I can do it from my notes here in some sort of a legible and meaningful way. All right, the motion is as follows. In the case ENVIRON-005-687-2025, I move that the Code Enforcement Board find that the respondent was not present, and based on the testimony evidence received, it is evident that a violation does exist, and therefore, the respondent, 11285 5th STRE LLC, Flip Gorilla, is found to be a first-time violator of the Treasure Island Code of Ordinances, Section 18-37 and 68-495, and is ordered to A, remove all debris, rubble, trash, and construction materials from the roof of the structure and from the property. B, either repair or demolish the structure. If the structure is to be repaired, repairs shall be done to the siding, roofing, peeling paint, mildew, and all other signs of inadequate maintenance. If demolition is chosen, the property shall be demolished within the time frame of the order. In either event, all necessary and appropriate permits shall be obtained, and the owner shall comply with all such permits. C, trim the grass and the weeds below 6 inches and remove all dead vegetation. D, drain the swimming pool or utilize pool equipment to eliminate stagnant water and eliminate a breeding ground for mosquitoes. May I have a second?
I second it.
All right, any discussion on this, or anyone wish to alter any of that language, add any language, subtract any language? Did I do that okay?
You did
that
it
read
great.
all right?
You did perfect.
That was correct, yep. And just to clarify, once, you know, like on the, this is just a little bit of an aside, but once you make a finding, and typically the process, and you might already know this, but the process, they'll start accumulating fines. So for instance, if they do eventually tear it down, but it takes them longer than the 30 days, then they can just pay the code enforcement fees that were associated with that and bring it back into compliance. Eventually, if it's not homesteaded, the city has the ability to move for a foreclosure on based on the lien attached to the property, but that's typically a little bit down the road. So just wanted to kind of walk you through after this, then what other steps are available.
Forgive me, did I miss, did you give a date for this to be completed by in your motion, and I missed it?
30 days, you said, right?
You said 30 days from the date listed on the order and signed, correct?
I actually didn't. I don't find that in this proposed motion, but let me add it. Let me add the following to the end. The respondent shall comply with this order no later than 30 days from the date it is signed.
Understood, thank you.
Is this the time that we would possibly add a fine to?
No, my understanding is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the process is to first find them a first-time violator and order them to correct the whatever the violations are. If they do not do so within 30 days, they will come back at the following meeting and then move to make them a second-time violator or for violating the order, and then we will have an opportunity.
Oh,
Is that correct?
That's correct. We'll, once we get through today, we'll monitor this. While our compliance date is November 21st, we'll ultimately check it the day before we need to post hearings for December. If it's not been fixed and nothing's been done, then we'll bring it back to you requesting a fine.
That was my understanding of sort of,
Thank you.
first time you just ask them to fix it. If they don't, then you move to the fine.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if you could start it in a month if they don't. But,
I don't know if you could. I don't think we generally do that.
okay. I see.
It takes a little bit of your power away from you. If let's say they were to apply for a permit and they find themselves, like we actually start communicating with them. If we were to establish a fine today, it would take a little bit of your leeway away, if that makes sense. In December, if we've started communicating, we're working through the permitting process, we can always bring you an update back and say, you know, this is where we've gotten to. Do you want to extend it or do you want to start a fine?
And that gives that extra check on city staff so that, you know, if they miss something or there's a misinterpretation of something, that kind of thing, you guys have the ability to kind of override what staff has done. It adds that due process for the person who's facing the violation.
Any other discussion on the motion? Discussion on the motion? All right, I'm going to call for a vote on the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? You will show the motion carried unanimously. All right. Anything else on that matter?
No, sir.
All right, next matter.
Thank you.
And by the way, if at any point, members, you need a break, we might want to take a break, could you please just let me know and we'll do that?
Sure.
Let's take a break.
You want to take a break now? All right, can we please take a 5-minute? Is 5 minutes enough, Jeff?
Is 5 minutes enough?
Yeah.
All right, let's adjourn for 5 minutes.
Till 12:05? Is that
12:05.
perfect?
Can you get to that in your slideshow?
Okay.
Remember?
I put it in Granicus, but I didn't. I thought just what I said.
Is the next one the same as the last one?
No, originally it started out that way, but now out of the 3 code violated, he's compliant to.
Yeah, they do things a little bit differently back in New York.
So when we get to that one, remind me to pull it up. And I'll read it so you don't have to come off of where you're at. When you get to your code section, just say, Jackie, can you read that onto the record?
You want to read all three of them or just the one?
Just the one that we're doing today.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. 66.
Well, they can do that here, they just don't, they don't. I feel terrible.
If you were to sign a letter, say,
This is the first. Yeah, exactly. From California.
Well, it's not we.
Are you Mr. Nguyen? You can stay there. Where do we usually put the respondents? Up here in the back?
We usually leave them seated till
Okay.
we finish our presentation.
And sir, is it Nguyen? Is that how you pronounce your name? I can't hear you. Nguyen?
Nguyen.
Yeah. Okay. Is it Jackie or Pam?
Myself.
Proceed.
Do I read this again?
Nope. Okay, you're good to hop right on.
So I'll start with the zoning map. So you can see that this address is actually part of Treasure Island. And the code section for this particular case is 66-104.1, permits required.
Give me 1 second, I'm going to load that and read that to you guys. As we're going, we know. All right, section 66-104.1, permits required. Any owner or owner's authorized agent, herein applicant, who intends to undertake any development activity within the scope of this chapter, including buildings, structures, and facilities exempt from the Florida Building Code, which is wholly or partially within any floodplain or flood hazard area, shall first make application to the floodplain administrator and the building official, if applicable, and shall obtain the required permits and approvals. No such permit or approval shall be issued until compliance with the requirements of this chapter, the city's terrain modification manual located in Appendix B, unless otherwise expressly exempt, and all other applicable codes and regulations have been satisfied.
Thank you. Staff actions for this case. A door hanger was left, as we noted, the property during a grid inspection search that we started in June. It was left on the property June 5th and was followed by a courtesy notice that was mailed on June 20th. That original courtesy notice included sections 8-1, Florida Building Code R 450-17-1, our code section 1837, 66-104.1, and 68-495. At the time of the courtesy notice, all of those violations were occurring on the property. And here are photos to substantiate the dead vegetation, overgrown grass, work without permits, general property maintenance. And the picture on the right here does show evidence of work without permits. The interior demolition was done post-storm, and no permits to this date have been applied for. It did come into compliance between the courtesy notice and the first notice of violation on August 4th for 2 of the 3 code violations that were noted on the courtesy notice. The notice of violation was posted on August 4th. Proof of property ownership was confirmed. Affidavit of service was done. The pictures are dated August 4th. The compliance date for this notice of violation is August 23rd. And here is a picture of the property during that notice of violation posting. The grass had been mowed, the fence had been fixed, the pool had been drained. Those are the pictures of the posting. So we moved the case onto notice of hearing as a permit had not been applied for. We posted the notice of hearing on September 8th, confirmed proof of property ownership, did the affidavit of service. The pictures were dated September 8th. Pictures of the notice of hearing. We also then posted the notice of hearing cancellation. And then another notice of hearing was posted on the property October 8th, confirmed proof of property ownership, which had not changed, and the code section for this notice of hearing was 66104.1, permits required. The affidavit of service was done, and the picture was dated October 8th. I was out to the property yesterday afternoon. I apologize, the picture should have been posted, or should have been added to this PowerPoint. It was not. The property is still in compliance with 1837 and I can't remember the other one.
68-495.
Thank you. 68,495. They're still in compliance. The yard looks fine. The fence has been fixed. The pool apparently has been drained from what I can see from the route that I can use to walk on the property. But the permit has still not been applied for. At this time, are we going to move forward? Okay. Staff recommendation for this case. Staff recommends the property owner be found as a first-time violator and given 30 days to correct the violation. The steps required to correct the violation include apply for and obtain building permits, schedule and pass all required inspections for all work completed without a permit. There was a printout on right at your seats for this particular case. The proposed motion was also did not show up in this PowerPoint. So that is, you should have that available to you. It was 2 pieces of paper that were stapled together. Yeah, like this.
And I would recommend if staff has concluded their presentation, for staff to officially request the evidence be submitted, and the defendant, if they want to object to any of the evidence, now would be the time for them to do so. Make a determination on the evidence and then begin deliberation, because you can't deliberate on evidence you haven't admitted yet. So
Respondent.
Respondent, yeah.
With that, we request that the packet be submitted into evidence.
Mr. Nguyen, do you have any objection to us accepting the materials that have been provided as evidence? It's not a determination of anything. It's just accepting the evidence.
You can come on the
And
record.
if you could come, why don't you come stand up here if you don't mind, sir? Is that microphone on? So is your microphone, is the green light on? Press the button if it's not.
That one's always on, so button.
Okay.
It's always on.
It's always on, so
Okay.
it should be
Mr.
good.
Nguyen, do you have any objection
Hello?
to just us considering this evidence and admitting it?
Yes, because my house is already damaged, so I can live over there. So I work from the others.
Okay. If I could, we are going to give you an opportunity to say whatever you want.
Yeah, I go.
Right now, we just need to know if you object to us accepting this evidence to consider it. We're not deciding your case. We need to know whether you have any objection to any of this evidence.
Yeah, because I don't know how to do this. You know, when the water come into the house, and it damaged the house, and about 3 weeks later, all the house turned black and blue. And when the guy from insurance he come in, he tell me I need to remove all the damaged thing out. If not, it will damage more. So I
Mr. Chair.
remove myself. Yeah, I remove myself. All the stuff and the one from the drywall. I remove myself, and I don't know. I need to do the permit or at that time, you know.
He has made no objection to the evidence.
Correct. I do think that there might be a English language barrier, and so if you could establish what language he would prefer, we could provide that translation using Google Translation, and make sure he's clear on that we're just admitting the evidence. I know it's a little bit of a delay, but I think that might be the appropriate, just to make sure that he's aware of what he's agreeing to.
Okay. Sir, what is your native language?
Vietnam.
Okay.
Vietnamese.
Okay.
So if you can just basically ask him, like clarify that we're at this stage just seeing if he has any objections to the evidence being admitted, and then maybe put that in Google Translate for it to be translated into Vietnamese.
I'm working on it right now.
Perfect. And then, so we're going to read a statement for you. Okay. Unless someone here speaks Vietnamese and is able to translate, but, okay.
I wish.
Is it okay if I stand up and just move closer to him?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Either way.
Yeah.
What I typed in is at this stage, we are seeing if you have any objection to the evidence being entered.
Okay.
But no determination has been made. He can present his own evidence.
But no determination is being made right now. You will.
Jackie, do you have your city iPhone?
I cannot operate that iPhone.
Nice. Yeah, as you know, in like criminal court, you have to have a certified translator and all that process. But for code enforcement, it's quasi judicial.
He right from my house.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll show no objection to the evidence.
Perfect. And then if you would just let him know, then he'll have the opportunity to present his side of the story, something to that effect. Yeah. So that.
Okay, so let me give you the full thing I typed out. I said, at this stage, we are seeing if you have any objection to the evidence being entered, but no determination is being made right now. You'll be able to give a full explanation in a few minutes.
Perfect.
Yes, that's fine.
All right.
All right. Pamela, do you have anything else?
Unless you want to hear the staff recommendation at this time, I do not.
Okay.
Okay. And you have no other witnesses?
No, sir.
Okay.
So he can now obviously interview staff, cross-examine them if he'd like to.
Sir, you have the right to ask questions of the staff members if you wish to do so. Would you like to do that?
Hold on one second. Let me plug in so he can see. Sure.
Oh, you're gonna, okay.
Put it on the big screen.
Yes, because the
Second.
Maybe.
How did we ever live without Google?
So he complied with everything except applying
Well,
for the permit, correct?
I'm wondering if the whole thing isn't a problem with the language from the very beginning.
Maybe.
Doesn't understand.
I would be so lost.
And you could request whatever notice you be provided in that language would be one remedy.
Okay, keep saying what you were saying. I got to, you have the right?
You have the right to ask questions of the staff members.
The witnesses, essentially, yeah.
Would you like to do that?
yes, because on the paper say I need to apply for the permit.
Yes.
But because I don't do the house do not do any repair. I'm not do any repair in the house yet. So I just move out the damaged stuff out, and that's it. I don't do any repair. So I apply for the permit for the repair. I don't know how to do. No, because from that day, I just remove all the damaged stuff out, and from that day until now, I don't do anything else.
Do you think he removed all of that because the insurance person said you need to do this because
That's what
it's
it
going to
sounds
make you sick? And
What is your position as to whether or not the simple act of the demolition, the partial removal of the wall board requires a permit?
At this stage in the game, you know, we're a year later. It's important that we get the paperwork to catch up with where all of the houses are now. We've noticed that we've had properties being sold with work done without permits, maybe done without permits, some in a full demo. We're trying to make the paperwork catch up, basically. Per the statute, any development activity, whether it's taking it down, building it up, everything requires a permit. So we've talked this over a lot and decided that any of these properties that have done the flood cut, we have to move them forward at this point. A lot of that has been, they reach out to us and say, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't done work, similar to what we're hearing. And we're able to explain to them, hey, we're just got to get this paperwork to catch up. From where I'm sitting, it kind of sounds like that communication barrier, the communication barrier hindered us from having that conversation and just getting it to where we could explain it.
So you're asking for a permit that he already removed the sheetrock, correct?
Yeah, if you remember when we,
So a demo
For the demo permit.
interior demo. So when storms roll in, a lot of us know we ask that everybody notify our office, say, hey, we're going to do the interior demo. We want you to get the wet stuff out. Just get it all out of there. And then we make the paperwork catch up. It's taken a lot longer because we had so many properties impacted. So that's where we're at with this one. It's just, we understand we have a lot of properties that they just don't know what they're going to do next, or they're waiting on insurance, they're waiting on FEMA. So we're just trying to catch up to
So he just
where we
needs
are
to be
right now.
told that he needs to file a demo permit for the demolition that was already taken. And when he moves forward to replace it, he's got to, file for those permits, correct?
Yes, sir?
And I think that he just doesn't understand that.
Yep.
Do we,
I'm
do we
still
still
not-
have
I'm not sure he
volunteers?
doesn't, because his position is he hasn't done any development activity. Because it sounds to me like his position is that simply removing the wallboard, and he said he didn't repair anything.
Exactly.
And, I mean, is it your position that simply removing the wallboard and not redoing the electric, not putting new wallboard in, not doing all the stuff we all had to do? I had 2 feet of water in my house, I had to do all that. Okay? But he didn't do any of that. It sounds like all you have evidence of is that he took
a demolition.
part of the wallboard down, right?
Correct.
Is your position that requires a permit?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Do we still have volunteers here that help people fill things out, paperwork out?
We don't have the volunteers in place anymore. We've finally slowed down to the point where our permit technicians are able to sit down and walk through this with people.
I'm not sure.
Jackie,
I
does
hear
he
you.
have any proof, which I think is important, of any remediation? I mean, that was our worst thing, is mold in the houses.
Not that we've seen. Oh, I have the typey thing.
I think I understand your position. Do you have anything else you'd like to say? Okay. I'm stuck on this one. I don't know. I do know I've got cramp in my leg. I'm gonna stand up. Somebody try to tell me something.
Good.
What do you all think?
I think it's a language barrier and just didn't understand what he needed to do in terms of a demo permit.
So
But there is no demo. That's not a thing. It's a building permit. Demolition permit is to take a whole house down,
But
right?
he needs permits because he's got electrical
both,
boxes
yeah.
to replace and
But he hasn't done that.
He hasn't
yet.
done that.
But he hasn't done it yet.
But he hasn't done
That's
it
what I'm
yet.
saying, that's why he has to have a permit. He can't-
well, maybe he hasn't
He would
decided
if
what he
has
wants to do.
that.
Yeah,
But
well,
he hasn't done that yet.
Right, well,
So how
why
do you find him
hasn't
in
he?
violation for some work he hasn't done yet?
Right. I get taken down a wall. A lot of people have done that.
Everybody.
We did that without a permit.
But I mean, to move forward, he has
We
to have
got
a
one
permit.
now, but I
Yeah.
think
Isn't
we
that what we're
should just
talking
help
about?
him.
I had to do a
They're
retro.
trying to get him violated for what he's done so far, not for what he's going to do in the future.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Can I speak for a second? Jesse Miller, the floodplain
Now,
manager.
hold on. Are you calling this this person as a witness?
He's
You
just,
rested your case, haven't you?
he's a staff member. If you'd like to hear a little bit more on the FEMA
right.
side of things.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the demo permit. So that is one of the things we do have to have on record because the cost for demo counts towards the 50%. Even though nothing else has been done, that also demonstrates to the city that they are making progress to eventually repair the house. So whenever, say, FEMA would come through, they pull that address and be like, what do you have on this house? We can show them, hey, we have a demo permit, but they haven't decided on what type of repairs they want to do yet.
Yeah, I get that, but just because you'd like to have that doesn't necessarily mean it's required by the law. The only thing that is in front of me legally that you're saying he violated is 66-104.1, right? Permits required. Any owner or owner's authorized agent who intends to undertake any development activity within the scope of this chapter, including buildings, structures, and facilities exempt from the Florida Building Code, which is wholly within or partially within a flood hazard area, and I'm sure this is, shall first make application to the floodplain administrator and the building official if applicable, and shall obtain the required permits and approvals. It all seems to hinge on that phrase, development activity, right? And whether this is or is not development activity. Is that phrase defined anywhere, or by case law, or by interpretive guidance, or anything
It
from
is
the state of Florida?
It's defined a little earlier in Chapter 68, but I'd also like to give the scope of the chapter that we're currently in. That's 66-104.1. 66-101.2 gives the scope of 66, which we're
Okay.
working in. I put it up on the board for you there.
Okay, that's helpful.
The provision of this chapter shall apply to all development that's wholly or partially within a flood hazard area, including but not limited to subdivision of land, filling, grading, other site improvements, utility installations, constructions, alteration, remodeling, enlargement, improvement, replacement, repair, relocation, demolition of buildings, structures, and facilities that are exempt from the Florida Building Code. Floodplain chapter, I apologize, I stopped reading right there. The floodplain chapter picks up where the building code leaves off, if you will, to include all of those costs. That way we're able to maintain our NFIP compliance and meet the standard of FEMA. If you'll give me a second, I can pull up 68-2's definition of development activities for
Yeah,
you.
that'd be good.
All right. So you have development right here, which is development means any man-made change to improved or unimproved real estate, including but not limiting to, and then it lists off everything. If you'd like me to read it to you, I can.
It looks like it applies to sites, not, well,
The only thing that catches my eye on that is development means any man-made change to improved or unimproved real estate, which is where we fall back on.
okay. No.
He said because he did it himself.
Mr. Nguyen, can you come back to the podium? Are you aware that the city is asking you to get a permit? Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you, will you agree to get a permit, or do you refuse to get a permit? You don't want to get a permit? What is your position?
So I will follow what city wanted, but because I don't know how to do it, because I remove or step out by the time the storm coming. So it's a long time ago. It's about almost 2 years ago. So I don't know I do wrong, but by that time I don't know I do like that. I do wrong. So but if the city request me do anything, I will follow.
Okay.
I follow
All right.
everything that the city request me to do.
Thank you. That's very helpful. That's very helpful. Okay. You need to speak on the record. Don't whisper to me.
I think that, well, I have a recommendation.
Good.
And I think we should give him 60 days to get a permit, and if such time he doesn't, then he Then we'll have to institute a fine.
Well,
It's difficult for him to give me extra time to get that permit.
yeah, I don't think we should give him a certain time to get a permit. I think it would make more sense to give him a certain amount of time to apply for a
To
permit.
apply.
Because I don't know how long it's going to take the city to process it.
Well,
You understand what I mean?
Yep.
And that's where we can do what we talked about a little bit earlier. If we get an order giving a date, then at the next code board, we can come back before you and give you an update. If it is in fact hung up in permitting, which I don't think will be an issue, but just in case, we can give you a status update and then move forward collectively. You guys can pick a path.
He's obviously going to need help getting that permit and filling it out, so.
Absolutely. When we leave here, Ms. Pam's going to go ahead and have a talk with him, introduce him to the right people, get him the paperwork that he needs so that we can start that as soon as we walk out of here.
Okay.
But I would just clarify on the record what the exact order that you're wanting to.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that yet, but that's good advice.
I didn't, yeah, I was just making.
Do you want to make a motion? Does anyone want to make a motion? I can try one.
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we give this gentleman till the next meeting to apply for a permit.
What's the next date of the next meeting?
Did you say November 17th?
I have
November 19th.
19th?
Yes.
Is that when you want to date it like that?
Yes, to apply, not to get the permit, just to apply for it.
Okay, let me,
And that's just,
You want to clean it up?
let me see if I can rephrase it in the way they've got it on this, but I think I understand what you want. Do you have
I just want to
comments?
make sure he understands what we're saying.
I will definitely
Might wanna
do my
put it on
best
the-
to,
she might
and this
wanna-
would be good for putting up on the screen when we.
Jackie, yeah.
and Jackie,
Thank
that's just
you.
a demolition permit. And he should be
Just the
told that
demolition.
if he does go forward with the repairs, he has to pull whatever.
More permits.
That was what I was going to ask,
Permits
is if
it
we
is.
could clarify a permit for only the work that's been completed now, an interior demo. That way we have a very measurable thing to check before we bring back to you.
Well, I don't want him thinking that that's the permit and he could start working and, you know.
Right, right. We'll make sure and run through that and make sure the permit scope is very clear.
Thank you.
And by the way, I actually know an HVAC man, and their company is located here in Treasure Island, and he is a native of Vietnam and speaks both languages fluently. If you need assistance, I just throw that out there.
Yeah, I would love to get his contact info.
I will. Okay, let me see if I can state this in the way you like it. All right, the motion is as follows. In the case FLOOD-005932-2025, I move that the Code Enforcement Board find that the respondent was present, and based on the testimony and evidence received, it is evident that a violation does exist, and therefore the respondent, Tran Nguyen, is found to be a first-time violator of the Treasure Island Code of Ordinances, Section 66-104, and is ordered to apply for a permit for all work completed at the subject property. And schedule and pass all required inspections to complete the permit. Respondent shall have until November 19, 2025 to comply with this order. Jeff, have I said that appropriately? Is that?
I think so,
Okay.
yes. I think it.
And to clarify, that's why there's this separate process of the findings today and then any kind of code enforcement liens or fines. Because you can be a first-time violator, but have already remedied the situation, and then the order just says you did violate it, but you've remedied it, so nothing further is needed.
May I have a second?
Second it.
All right. Motion's been seconded. Any further discussion on the motion?
Do you understand, Mr.?
Yeah, we can, after the vote, we can try and make sure he understands. All right. All in favor of motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion has carried. Sir, please understand, at this time, we are only directing you to apply for a permit with the city to get approval of the work that has been done so far. Please work with the city to make that happen, and I'm asking the city to work with you and provide you any translation services that you need to understand what's going on, okay? If you apply for the permit is granted, and any inspections occur, this matter is ended. You understand? So no fines, nothing like that. You can read it up here. Okay. You will have until November 19th to make that application.
That will be
Do you understand, and do you have any questions?
so. I have question. So I start to apply tomorrow, or
You can apply whenever you like, but you need to do it by November 19.
so finish by November 19, or
Yes, just fill out the application by November 19th. Okay? All right, thank you very much, sir.
thank you.
Good luck.
Is that your last one?
Yes.
Okay. Would you link up with him?
There you go.
Take him to see Bianca.
Okay.
And let's do that. We're going to do a switch over. I'm going to bring Emily up and get her plugged in and ready.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Pam? That was a good idea to use that Google Translate. Very slick.
I didn't know there was going to be a typing test today.
You went pretty quick.
I know, Jackie, you did great keeping up.
Type under pressure.
I was impressed.
You want this?
No, just make sure she can. Works.
Papers
Yeah,
are all out
eventually,
of
I guess,
order
like
now.
earpods, certain earpods, different things can do it like in your head
Oh,
when
I
you
know.
hear it, and then it translates it, and,
I use it all the time.
I haven't tried it yet.
Are you
Sounds pretty cool.
For
shaking me the
Axon, the body cam for the cops, newer ones have a live translation.
Really? Wow, that's cool. That your son or grandson or? Nice. Okay, that's our family's like that. My brother's 53, and I'm the youngest boy, and then I have a younger sister.
I'll survive. I didn't. I will pretend that I did and go with it.
Didn't know what you were getting into, huh?
Usually we're here for 45 minutes, an hour.
We are going to be on page 206.
All right, I got your last three.
You're very welcome.
2 minutes. Are you doing 2 minutes?
I can get, well, I'm gonna give them a little bit of context, so I'm good. All right. I'll do better without you hearing that.
Okay. Got that.
You know what I mean? Something still, I get.
Are we ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Madam Clerk, I like the idea of you calling cases, so why don't you call the next case?
The next case is code 005268, 2024, 11220 Fifth Street East, Treasure Island, Florida, 33706. The respondent is NVIDIA Holdings, LLC.
We did have a witness for this case. That's this, ma'am, are you the respondent or are you witness for the?
I work for the general contractor and the new ownership. There's been a change in ownership over the last 30 days, and we've now taken on this
that way so it shows up on the web.
and the property.
Okay, you can stay there, or you can come up to the podium while they're giving their presentation, whatever you like.
I'll let them finish.
All right. Go right, I'm sorry, can you introduce yourself? And
Yes, sir. My name is Emily. I am the other code compliance inspector on the City of Treasure Island. Before we get started, my next two cases, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on them just so they have some context. Both of them started with significant number of violations. By the time we got to the notice of hearing posting, we were down to one. So as we move through this, you will see that the properties did eventually come into compliance.
so the property is currently in compliance?
This property is currently in compliance. We are here to find this one as a first-time violator. As we had no contact with the property owner at all. We did find out about the new contractor, I believe, 2 days ago. And they were the ones who brought the property in compliance. As I said, we had no contact with the property owners.
Okay.
So as you can see, 11220 5th Street East is in the bounds of the City of Treasure Island.
It's in what?
The bounds of Treasure.
This property was in violation of Code Section 8-31, which is the amendments to the building code. Section 18-37, unhealthful accumulations declared a public nuisance. Section 8-72, the Florida Prevention of the Fire Code adopted. The NFPA 1, which gives you the fire hydrant obstruction. And Section 68-495, the minimum property standards. We received a code complaint on this property. You will find it on page 212 of your packet. It was in regards to the property being overgrown and having significant amounts of debris. Being mailed a courtesy notice after the initial site visit. You will find the courtesy notice on page 213 through 216 in your packet. They were, at that time, we cited them for being in violation of Section 8-31, Section 18-37, Section 86-495. As you can see from these photos, the property was significantly overgrown. The silt fence was in disrepair and did not contain the debris and the dirt on the property. At the time of the citation, there is an open permit on this property, therefore it is an active building site and is required under that Section 8-31 to maintain that silt fence. Some more photos that show you the dilapidated silt fence, the debris on the property. You can see the very little tiny cap of the fire hydrant in that photo on the left. The photo was not brought in, the property was not brought into compliance. And we posted the notice of violation on August 4th. You will find that on page 219 through 223 of your packet. On pages 246 through 252, we verified the property ownership through the Pinellas County Property Appraiser, the Pinellas County Tax Collector, and Sunbiz, as it was owned under an LLC. And we provided the affidavit of service with the certified receipts. You will find those in your packets under pages 224 through 245. At this time, we did also add the sections of the fire code that they were violating. The notice of violation, we try to encompass everything so that we do it all at once. We don't want to nitpick people. And we wanted to make sure that that was addressed as it is a safety issue. The photos of the property site at the notice of violation, you can see it continues to have significant amount of debris on the property. The silt fence is still not being maintained. The landscaping is...
As of August 4th.
Yes, sir, this is all as of August 4th. As I said, we were going to move through it. It gets worse. And then we got a new one, and it all got better. So I'm going to kind of try to get you through it so we hit all of our statutes that we require, and then show you how much better it looks now. At the notice of hearing, we posted on September 8th. You will find that on page 258 through 263. Again, we proved the property ownership through the property appraiser, the tax collector, and Sunbiz. The affidavit of service, we provided with the certified receipts on pages 264 through 289 of your packet. And this is what it looked like when we posted the first notice of hearing on September 8th. It continues to be overgrown. There's a significant amount of debris, the silt fence. And then we were driving by on a routine area check, and everything had come back into compliance except for the silt fence, which is section 8-31.
Except for the what?
The silt fence?
Oh, silt fence.
Yes, sir. So
Just for a little bit of clarification for you guys, the silt fence is that black piece stretching, there we go. 8-31 and the Florida Building Code requires that to be around the whole entire site. That way we don't get dirt and debris over into our storm drains. Just want to make sure we knew what that was.
I have a note here to explain that to you, but thankfully I got good help. So we posted the notice of cancellation for that hearing. You will find that on pages 330 through 334. Oh, just kidding. I skipped one. And then we went back to the notice of hearing. So at this point, they were only in violation of that section 8-31 of the silt fence. And we proved the property ownership and the affidavit of service with certified receipts. Those are in pages 335 through 361. When we posted the notice of hearing, you can see that the silt fence is still not encompassing the big front of the property, and it is not in repair on the right-hand side of the property. But as of yesterday, before we came in, we did go out, and the contractor had contacted me and said that they had the silt fence up and the property was in compliance. And we did go take those photographs yesterday afternoon. We are here to find them as a first-time violator, since we did have communication issues for over a year that the case had been open. So at this point, the corrected staff recommendation would simply be that the property owner be found as a first-time violator and that the violation has been corrected.
Now your request for your evidence packet to be admitted onto the record.
And I request that the evidence packet please be admitted onto the record.
Okay. Ma'am, would you come to the podium? I assume that's the end of your
Yes,
initial
sir.
presentation? Would you state your name and who it is you represent, please?
I'm Shannon Delane. I represent the new contractor as well as the new owner.
Okay.
There was a change in ownership. The actual paperwork was signed at the beginning of September, but with escrow and all the things that have happened, the title agent is just now going through and putting it with the property appraiser. So we're in the process of that. Also, I'm a Treasure Island resident myself, so I'm the director of development, so I'll be overseeing this moving forward. The first time I went by, as we were thinking about taking the project on, that's when I was like, we just got to get this cleaned up right now. Obviously, there were some structural things going on, there were trusses that had been rotting, just sitting in the front yard. I wanted to get a structural engineer out there to take a look at everything, make sure that the structure in place is still okay before we decided we were going to take this project on. So we've got the sign off. I did my change of contractor paperwork, and I didn't want to do too much until we were allowed to be working on the site, because there's kind of a gray area there. So I believe we're good to go now, and I'm confident we can maintain the property, and we want to move this along and get this house built finally. I believe this original permit was pulled in 2022. So
How do you spell your last name?
it's D-I-L-L-A-N-E.
Delane.
Yes.
Delane. Okay, and do you have authority to represent the owner for purposes of these proceedings?
I do.
Do you have any objection to us entering an order finding the owner as a first-time violator, but finding that all violations have been corrected.
I don't see a problem with that.
Can we then enter that as an agreed order? Or whatever other format you,
Yeah, it'd look like a joint stipulation, essentially.
Okay,
Because
so we
it's-
just do a quick joint stipulation and,
I mean, you can do it as an order that, and just say in the order it's been stipulated to by the respondent. Either way, I mean, it's kind of a distinction without a difference. So.
question for you with the.
I'm not going to force anything on you. I'm just offering it. You can either accept that or just ask us to do whatever you want to ask us.
I'm fine with either way you want to go. With the ownership information coming in slower, how will I show, like, when we do a joint stipulation, I'm able to look on Sunbiz and find the registered agent and who can sign for that property? Do we still need to do that?
Here's
side
what
of
I
things?
recommend, just for simplicity. Just go ahead and, because they've stipulated, it makes your decision easy. So go ahead and just make a finding, and it doesn't matter that, I mean, that just was a factor in your ultimate decision, and that makes it easier for everyone.
All right. Let me see if I can take a shot at this. There's no recommended order in here, is there? I couldn't find one.
Me neither.
It should be.
There it is. It would have to say it's evident that the violation did exist, right?
The evidence, it did exist, but has been remedied. Has been brought into compliance.
Okay, let me
May I
see if
ask
I
a
can.
question?
Yes, ma'am.
Just with this being then a first-time offense, with us moving forward, clean slate, though, is that meaning, you know, if, I don't know, neighborhood kids
So-
knock the silt fence down, we're immediately being fined? Like, what
So,
does that
so
mean?
here's how that will go.
Okay.
And you're going to correct me if I misstate anything. If you're the first time, if you have one on your ledger within the last 5 years, if you commit a second violation, they will bring a new case, allege it. You will have the right to come in here and contest it. The difference is that instead of just ordering you to repair it, we can order you to repair it with fines if you don't.
Understood, okay.
Yeah, I would just like to throw in from a staff perspective, we're humans too. So if the kids get hold of the silt fence, as long as we maintain a good communication, we know how to get in touch with you, we're going to give you a call before because we don't like being up here either.
I'll be stopping by every day on my way home from work. You can trust that. So, yeah, I'll keep my eye on it.
All right, let me see if I can do this then. In the case CODE-005268-2024, I move that the Code Enforcement Board find that the respondent was present, and based on the testimony evidence received, it is evident that a violation did exist and has been corrected, period. Therefore, the respondent, NVIDIA Holdings LLC and Duck 1103 LLC, is found to be a first-time violator of the Treasure Island Code of Ordinances, Section 8-31 and Section 18-37 of the City of Treasure Island Code of Ordinances, period. Does that cover it?
Yeah, yes, sir, it does.
You only have to read it 3 more times before it's.
You get one shot. Other than that, I charge you overtime. And you have to pay me 150% of my
Audiobooks, yeah.
zero salary. Okay, can I get a second?
I second.
Any further discussion on this matter?
No.
Ma'am, do you have anything else you want to say?
I do not.
Staff, anything else you want to say?
No, sir.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously.
very much.
Thank you.
ma'am. And we really appreciate you taking charge of this.
No problem.
That's a big deal, and it's not lost on any of us.
Resident of Beaches for 35 years.
Good.
My community too, so I'll make sure of it. Thank you.
Need more of that. Okay, is it my understanding that the rest of these matters are agreed? Or is there still a contested one?
I have one more.
Okay,
Again, this one began with multiple, we're down to one.
wait. Madam Clerk, call the case. That's my favorite part.
I know he is.
Flood 005811 2025 10132 Yacht Club Drive, Treasure Island, Florida 33706. The respondent is Jacob Ward and Aubrey Ward.
Oh, Yes, I missed it. And someone is here on behalf of the respondent? Can you identify yourself, ma'am? Were you here when we administered the oaths of witnesses? Okay, thank you. Ma'am, you can stay back there, or you can come up to the podium, whatever you like. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Staff?
She's just waiting until staff completes.
Yeah.
The property at 10132 Yacht Club Drive is within the boundaries of the city of Treasure Island, as shown on our zoning map. This property is in violation of Code Section 66-104.1, permits required, and -66-104.3, the application for permit or approval. While on a routine area check, we observed the overgrown landscaping and the interior demolition without a permit of this property, and we left a door hanger courtesy notice on the 19th of May. On June 13th, we received a complaint on the property regarding the landscaping not being maintained and the pool not being maintained. You will find this on page 412 in your packet. We mailed the courtesy notice, which you will find on page 413 through 416. Landscaping was complied and was brought into compliance.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't think any of us have anything in the
we not give them
400s.
My packet ends at 365.
What page are we on?
Yeah, something
Mine
like
went through like 730.
Would it be possible for us to take a 5-minute break and get our packets together?
I'm sorry, if had I known you guys didn't have the last ones.
Yeah, view it up
Okay.
there.
Start with that here, or do we want to wait?
It's recorded, right?
Yes, we are recording audio, yes.
Where's she, how?
She's working on printing.
Oh, but she knows we don't have to print now? Because they said they don't have to, they don't need them.
I'll go let her know. Let her keep going. I'll go grab her.
What page does this case start on?
This case started on,
But yeah, as long as it's being
yes, sir, I believe
recorded,
so.
then minutes can be taken. That's the main thing.
What page?
the complaint was on page 412, so it should have been just a couple pages before that. It should have begun on page 409
409.
or somewhere thereabouts. The complaint form we were discussing as we worked through was on
My last was
412. That's my
It was in the
but he's
email.
gonna-
Ours don't go up. I don't have paperwork for that.